This presentation, titled Which Came First, the Career or the Passion, comes to us from Andrew Baines. Immediately prior to becoming CEO of Exemplar Global, Andrew was Managing Director of the American Society for Quality's Global Operations. He joined ASQ in January 2015. There, he managed ASQ's operations outside the United States, including offices in India, China, the Middle East, and Mexico, as well as serving on the Exemplar Global Board. He has more than 30 years of experience spanning the food industry, auditing and conformity assessment, and international business development throughout the world. And with that, take it away, Andrew.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you all for joining this presentation. It's great to have you with us for the Food Safety Expo. At Exemplar Global, we certify auditors and organisations that train auditors. We also encourage ongoing professional development. And as the CEO, you might rightly expect that I'm passionate about what we do at Exemplar Global. I'm going to talk a little more later on about some of the things that we are doing and that I'm passionate about. But to introduce this, I thought it might be worth talking about where does that passion come from. So often we're advised to follow your passion. We tell youngsters coming out of school to follow your passion, which if you've got a passion and you can make a career out of it, is great. Go for it, absolutely. But what if you haven't got a passion? I certainly didn't have a passion for this when I left school. Or what if you do have a passion and you've tried it, but you can't follow it for some reason, or you can't make a living out of it? I've arrived here where I am because I'm an auditor, a food safety auditor actually, and I wanted to start this presentation by letting you come on the journey with me from my career and how it ends up with the passion. So when I first left school at about 18, I had dreams of flying fighter jets in the Air Force. That wasn't possible because I have some hearing loss through noise damage. So my backup plan was to do dentistry. I was going to go off and be a dentist. Unfortunately, I failed my physics exam, so that fell at the first hurdle as well. So I rattled off with what I did have, rang around some universities, and I was finally accepted at the University of Dundee in Scotland to study biology. Not a passion particularly, but it was the exams that I'd passed best of all, and they offered me a place. And over the course of the following 4 years, I eventually specialised in microbiology, not because I particularly loved it. I honestly just thought I'd have a better chance of getting a job. Could be in the health sector, in pharmaceutical, brewing and food were all possibilities. And when I did graduate, I applied for many jobs. Didn't have any particular aspiration. The aim was just to get a job, any job. As it happened, the very first job that I did get was in dairy manufacturing. Not an opportunity, not a passion, but certainly an opportunity. And so with that, I went back to my home county in England, in Yorkshire, to a real practical world of dairy manufacturing. It was a great job for me, owned by two brothers, Joseph and Edgar Dickinson. And they gave me a lot of freedom to do things, freedom to innovate, freedom to try things out and find out about things. I learned a lot about myself. I was there for 8 years. I learned what I was good at and sometimes what I'm not so good at, and you can work on those. Now, I'm going way back into the 80s here, and these are the very early days of quality management systems. In fact, before there was an ISO 9001, there was a British standard version of it. And we were looking into how we might do that. So I had to find out, I had to work out how to apply documentation requirements when we didn't have documentation, how to do internal audits when we didn't do internal audits, how to do management review, really the basics of things. And with some real wisdom and foresight, one of the brothers, Joseph, suggested that I went off on an auditor training course to find out what auditors are going to look for when they come and do us and assess us against these standards. And that's exactly what I did. And I came back from the auditor training, not with any idea of ever being an auditor, but in order to implement the systems in the factories that I worked for. So when I left that, what did I take away from it? Well, I found my technical specialist area being dairy and food. I'd also found pragmatic ways to apply theory of the standards, really practical, down-to-earth people set against a background of commercial reality. And little did I know it at that time, but that was the foundation stones for what I went on to be the bigger part of my career. In 1991, I emigrated to New Zealand, wanted to do something different, wanted to see the world, look for new opportunities. And New Zealand's a great country for exporting, and particularly from dairy products. So naturally, I was looking for work in the dairy industry, which I guess was my passion at the time, certainly where I foresaw my future. I did get a job in dairy that got me to the country, but it really wasn't the job I was looking for. And then I heard about an organisation called Telarc, and they were looking for auditors. Well, I'd been on the training, so there was an opportunity. And I tried out for that, and I was fortunate enough to be selected. And I worked for Telarc, which is a conformity assessment body based in New Zealand with government ownership. I worked for them for 8 years. I did about 1,500 audits, and I really learned the trade. I learned the technical and the soft skills of auditing. I was also fortunate enough to get considerable diversity, exposed to many different industries, manufacturing, service sector, food and beyond, engineering, all sorts of things. And equally over that time in the 90s, we saw the start of what continues to be an explosion of standards. So I started with ISO 9001 quality management system. Also saw the start of 14001 for environmental management systems, and ISO 22000 food safety as it became food safety systems. In New Zealand, we're very much primary sector oriented. So we saw standards like Global Gap and SQF, BRC and organics all starting to emerge with both private and public schemes. So there was great diversity of these, and I was exposed to those. And some of the examples on the right-hand side of the slide there, I earned my badges, my credentials there. The Quality Society of Australasia one was a predecessor of Exemplar Global, and I was certified by them. I was also certified by IRCA in the UK originally. So what did I take away from those 8 years? Well, I continued the skill set to build that. I was exposed to new standards and qualified for new standards and schemes. And I'd built my reputation as an auditor. It's a relatively small country, is New Zealand, and there's few of us, but I started to build that reputation, specialising in food safety, and I built connections with people. I also realised that the sector needed vision and strong leadership. The place I was with at the time, we had an opportunity to move into a regulatory environment and work in the food industry there. We weren't able to take that up because of lack of vision at the time. And so I moved to an organisation called Assure Quality, also in New Zealand. This was a start-up conformity assessment body, but by no means small. It was a government department being prepared in the commercial sector, primary sector specialists, and with about 1,800 people, laboratories, inspection, auditing and testing as well. At Assure Quality, I gained a lot of international exposure, initially in Australia, but then in Southeast Asia, Middle East, China and North America. As a large organisation, we had commercial expectations, and there was a relatively high profile and some responsibility for that. I also started to gain connections in the conformity assessment community, the wider conformity assessment community. JASANS is a regional accreditation body for Australia and New Zealand, and I was on a technical advisory committee. RABQSA, which is what Exemplar Global was known as, I was on the board of directors. I worked on working groups for the regulators and for standards setting. And this was a great background for me, which served me for about 15 years. My takeaways from that were that you need to continue ongoing professional development. You've got to keep up to date. Things are changing very fast. This continues to be true. No, in fact, it's truer than ever. Technology changes, standards changes, industry changes. You've got to keep up to date. I would also suggest that it's important to look for leadership opportunities. And by that, I don't necessarily mean management. It might be the development of a standard. Excuse me, it might be a technical interpretation, it might be working groups. It could be speaking events or technical papers, but you need to find those opportunities to lead. And continue to expand your skills, both the soft skills, technical skills, and management skills. The technical skills are often what we as auditors specialise in, but it's usually the soft skills where we receive the criticism and the difficulty parts of it. So specialise in learning those as well. I also took away that the sector requires diverse skill sets. There's no such thing as a single correct auditor or inspector. Different sectors want different things, different skills, different size of jobs, one-man audits, multiple team audits, corporates down to one-man operations, very diverse skill sets. So there's a huge amount of opportunity comes out of that. And there's also a significant amount of international opportunity. I was fortunate enough and I enjoyed working internationally. That's not for everybody, but certainly the potential is there for people that do want to do that. From Assure Quality, I was offered an opportunity to join the American Society for Quality, ASQ. Now, ASQ is an international society, membership based, with about 70,000 quality professionals as members of that. My job there was to manage the global operations outside of the US. We had offices in China, in India, in the Middle East, in Mexico. And so I had lots of opportunity to travel to those places as well as to North America and Europe. I was able to engage in public speaking and grew some skills in business unit management, strategic leadership, and indeed business development. The relationship between ASQ and Exemplar Global is where the connection comes. ASQ is the sole member of Exemplar Global. And so whilst with ASQ, I chaired the ASQ board. I mentioned before, I've been on the ASQ board for several years beforehand, so I was quite familiar with it. And so came the opportunity to come to Exemplar Global as the chief executive. But before going on to that, my takeaways from the ASQ years were that there is a world of opportunity and possibilities. There are considerable cultural differences as you move around the world, but the opportunities are there. Also, there is a real need for conformity assessment. It's been a great industry for many years, and it does good. It makes a difference, and there are many, the majority, that do not use it. I want to encourage people to be able to use this conformity infrastructure for the betterment. But there's also a need for community, for the auditors, for the certification bodies, for accreditation bodies, to keep up to date, to talk with others of like mind, to help to transform and modernise the sector so we don't get left behind with technology changes and the needs of the world as they change. Even in this last year with COVID, the needs have changed, the methods of delivery have changed. It's never been more relevant to keep up to date, but also to keep the community and keep communication going. And so to Exemplar Global, as you might expect, I am very passionate about what we do here. Exemplar Global serves the audit and conformity community and has done for some 30 years. We have about 15,000 individuals certified around the world, and many of those individuals have been certified for 10, 20, 25 plus years. I was one of them back in those years, 25 years ago. I share a passion for this profession and the positive influence it makes. And we're currently trying to transform Exemplar Global to be a customer-centric, data-driven and technology-based organisation that can help auditors and assurance professionals to develop your own career pathways and have a successful career and realise the potential opportunities that I've been able to do. Auditors come from many different backgrounds. There are an enormous amount of opportunities. What I've shared with you is just my personal journey. There are many others, and Exemplar Global, we're going to capture some of those stories and tell them through our newly launched Exemplar Link. And I'd like to just take the rest of this presentation and talk to you a little bit further about Exemplar Link. So as audit professionals, as assurance professionals, these career pathways can be manifold. Certainly when I started, I didn't know anything about any of these things, and I found out as I went along. We want to make that much easier for people. We want to encourage people to see audit as an attractive career. whether you stay with it and spend your entire career specializing in it, or whether you transit it and do it for a period of time and then move on to other things. Either way, it's a fine career and can prepare you very well for many opportunities. We want to encourage people to build their ongoing professional development through experiences such as industry engagement, event networking, participate in the community that we've put together, look for the opportunities through access to talent and jobs, and manage your career actively. As I mentioned, this is all about being customer-centric, putting the customer first, the auditor first, but there are numerous other stakeholders as well. As well as the auditors, we have training providers who train auditors. We want to work closely with them as well. We want to engage with industry to understand what the need is, what the feedback is, how can auditors be better, what areas do we need that professional development. We're not trainers ourselves, we don't do training. We provide some professional development opportunities, and I'll talk more about those in a moment, but we don't do the training ourselves. What we do is provide that connection, that link through to training providers. We also have relationships with other stakeholders like the certification bodies that auditors work for, and indeed industry sectors that engage the auditors and the certification bodies. But beyond that, all of the organisations in the ISO conformity world and well beyond it also have first and second party auditors. We want to embrace those as professionals too, to bring them into this community so that they have the opportunity to develop professionally as well, and indeed to build their own pathways, to manage their careers. And through events and networking, through the community, through the talent and the jobs that are available, we will get data that we can provide insights to the sector. How do we need to improve our performance? I want to talk briefly about some of the opportunities that we present for learning and networking. And this is intended for assurance professionals and graduates. Most of the services that we offer in Exemplar Link are without cost. Some of them are fee for service where we incur costs ourselves, but there's no cost to enter into and join Exemplar Link, and most of the functions, such as those I'm going to talk about here, are with no cost if you're part of Link. Having joined Link, you will get access to Exemplar Global's webinars and other online events. We run 3 major expos through the year. This Food Safety Expo that you're attending now is one of them. There are 2 others. We also have ongoing video content that's available and a LinkedIn social networking group with other auditors of similar mind where you can test experience. We have bi-weekly co-branded emails communicating all sorts of useful information with input from auditors and with information relating to updates of standards, so it's the technical and the non-technical aspects of the work. It also includes a subscription to the Auditor Online, which is a monthly e-magazine specially for auditors. There's over $400 of value in this alone were we to charge for it, but as I said, this is all without cost. We have additional media. The Auditor Online magazine is a publication of ours that has regular articles on standards and auditing, contributions from auditors and other professionals that will be of interest. The Exemplar Global community is an exclusive group where Exemplar Global certified professionals and others that are in Link can share ideas, get access to exclusive content, and find out from others how things have been handled if you're coming across things for the first time. We do have a Job Connect, which is a job board with auditing and quality and other industry opportunities, and that can be accessed via a website or via the Exemplar link. We're also trying to embrace technology, to understand that many of the skills of auditors are the soft skills that lead to dealing with difficult situations, how we might deal with contention and so on. And one of the tools that we've developed is something we're calling the work style assessment, which is for profiling personal attributes. This is a personal assessment. A sophisticated foundation assessment is a starting point. There are a series of others at different levels throughout career that can be drawn on. but it provides a clear description of your individual traits and work style as an auditor. This assessment was developed by psychometricians in consultation with audit professionals, and importantly, as I mentioned earlier, there's no one size fits all. This is not a pass and a fail type of thing. It's intended for personal self-awareness. If you're managing auditors, it can be helpful in how do you manage an individual? How do you get the best from them? How can you help them to develop personally and build their soft skills? As far as I'm aware, it's the first time there's an empirical measure put on the soft skills that allow people to set a tone for what they want and to allow for that development. Not a pass-fail, but personal awareness and therefore opportunity for self-development. Fundamentally, one of the things we do at Exemplar Global is to certify auditors, and that's traditionally been done in the same sort of style for many years. However, the style of learning is changing in many respects, from residential courses, for example, to much more online courses where you can do small bits at a time, modular based, and so on. Micro-learning is a term that's sometimes used for this. So we're trying to reflect that with micro certification as well through digital badging. This is a relatively new thing, but already with several thousand of these badges being issued to our certified people. And these are learning and development opportunities that can punctuate the career pathway. They're a network of training providers to enable the development as you go along this, again, to allow for recognition of that through these badges as you go. Skill-based courses and evolving the trend for micro training and micro certification. These are not just badges that we just throw out there. They are verified by via a claim by Credly. So when you see these badges on, for example, somebody's profile on LinkedIn, say, you can examine them further. Through the electronic nature of them, you can look at the content of them, what was involved, and what does this mean. So it's a way to promote and leverage certification and credentials in a very portable and secure way. We currently have about 130 of these badges available, and there's a reference there on the screen that you can go and look for them. But broadly, we intend to make them available to recognise 4 different types of achievement: your experiences, particular learning, validation of some skills, or certification to match those that we're doing in the traditional sense. Again, most of these are at no cost, or certainly very little cost if there are some fee for service areas, but would certainly encourage people to come and look for them. Many of them can be, for those of you that are already certified with us, you would get these awarded already. Punctuating pathways to recognise your achievement towards your career goals as well is where this is moving to. And on to some of the latest developments. We really do intend to keep our customer service up to date, and as we expect to grow the community from the 15,000 we have, we want to ensure that that's a wonderful experience. We also want to demonstrate that we have some innovation, and we're at the leading edge of the development of service for our customer base. And so most recently, some of the latest developments, we've developed Emma. Emma is an artificial intelligence powered digital human who supports our customer service experience so that it will be a much more pleasant and helpful experience for people. In theory, these can speak to some 50,000 people at once and can speak over 100 languages. Our Emma can't do that yet, but that will be coming into the what you'll see below as the second phase here. The first phase, ready and available now, is Emma will take you on a website tour. If you visit our website, you can talk to Emma, she'll recognise what you're saying, and she'll take you on a website tour. Second out of this phase is frequently asked questions, and that's right on the point of being available. In fact, it will be available by the time this conference is operating. The second phase that we want to develop with Emma is to serve as a concierge of our services so that the customer can have a much more self-service experience. She will take you around the services that we offer, log you onto or register you on for webinars or expos, maintain your profile up to date, this type of thing. And we expect that there may be different versions of the digital human, the virtual assistant, and there may be more languages. We expect to move into new languages in this second phase. We anticipate that this second phase will be through to the middle of this year, 2021. Looking a little further out, we also aspire that we might be able to develop Emma to undertake oral micro-examination. So she'll be able to ask you questions and evaluate your answer to them and then award an electronic badge. And hopefully she may even be able to role play certain scenarios as we build through into the future and help you develop into new areas of skills, maybe with new standards or new sectors or new standards when they come out perhaps, all sorts of possibilities. Artificially intelligence driven and with technical review groups to give her the insights, data will be fundamental to what Emma provides and backs that up with the best of services with the knowledge of your particular circumstances and your profile and your aspirations. I'm going to just ask Emma to say a word or two to you at the moment.
Hi, I'm Emma, a digital member of the Exemplar Global team. We work hard to provide solutions that make a real difference in the conformity assessment industry. I'm here to help guide you around our website. What can I help you with today?
Thank you, Emma. And in development right at the moment, we're putting together an auditor simulator. One of the great conundrums for auditors, having been trained, is how do I get a job if I haven't got the experience? And whilst there's nothing like real life experience, what we can do with technology is to use AI-powered platform to provide real life scenarios to populate with and allow auditors to practice the skills and techniques, particularly for novice or new auditors, so they can evaluate and draw conclusions from a situation with photographs or video or recordings or anecdotal written evidence and compare that against what, if you like, professional full-time auditors have interpreted from that same information. It's a way of building some confidence in the interpretations, to build some experience. And we expect this to be ready early in 2021 as well. This is where the potential for the future use of Emma to role play and micro-certify can also come in. Now, whilst this is initially intended for novice or new auditors, absolutely appropriate for people that want to extend from one standard certification area to another, from quality to environmental, for example. And we will have to build some scenarios around these, but this is certainly our intention. And what I'm trying to convey is that at Exemplar Global, we want to facilitate that career pathway, we want to provide the tools that can enhance the pathway and make it a really satisfying career option for people. And so, in conclusion, it's actually, I can't believe it, but 42 years since I left school. I did not know this world was available at that time. In fact, indeed, some of it wasn't. So how could I have been passionate about this sector at the time that I left school? I was passionate, or at least had dreams about other things. But what I did do was to get a job, any job. I worked hard at it. You keep up to date and stay current, make the connections, and be open-minded to opportunity. Build your own reputation, manage your own career, and the passion will follow. The better you get at it, the passion will follow. That's why I'm passionate about what we're doing at Exemplar Global, because I am a food safety auditor still. I spent many years doing that. I love that part of my career, and I encourage all of you as food safety auditors to love what you do. It's important work. It does make a difference, and the career opportunities are there. Join us at Exemplar Link, and we can help you on that journey. Good luck to all of you, and thank you for joining the presentation.
Thank you, Andrew Baines, for that retrospective of the lessons you learned in your own personal career pathway. And that concludes this presentation.